And we're live. That was really quick. Welcome to another scene in Darkness in Dublin, Mage Venue. Tonight's a really brief scene taking place after the larger main social that occurred at Tripitaka's garden. It looks like we've got Stefanos. We have a wild narrator lurking in the high grass, or tall grass. And we have a Dark, who I cannot remember the character name because I haven't encountered them yet. But in any case, Stefanos, having been alerted by the massive explosion of prime energy and also the news article of, oh, hey, there was a massive power outage in this same region, he doesn't necessarily put two and two together because not every awakening causes a massive power surge, but his did, and the first one he's witnessed did, so he thinks this might be worth checking out. He is going to head in that direction. He's probably going to go by car at first because, he can't just walk there or take a cab necessarily. It's a little inconvenient. So he'll be heading to that region. What would a certain newly awakened mage be doing?
So Malthael is my character, and he is going to, well, after said events happened at the newest gathering, my character is washing off the wounds from his recently stabbed hand and drying and cleaning his clothes. He is going to be reflecting on the new people and information that he has learned, and he might even go and take a stroll to investigate the alley that he had recently dropped in.
Okay. Would there be any traces, Adam, that Stephanus would notice, like prime or spirit turmoil or anything else?
Yes, prime wise, there seems to be actually little tiny itty bitty bits of, like, you occasionally see a little TAS signature here and there that disappears because of the broken power lines, and almost what's really interesting is some of these pieces of TAS seem to be shrouded in some kind of darkness, especially in the spirit world. There's a lot of darkness spirits, a lot of spirits of some nefariousness. Some seem to be of a nature where they seem to have like this mold-like nature that seems to be molding and creating dark. Some of it seems to look hardened, as if seems to be enforcing a given area. Some are almost breaking the seams, making things more vulnerable. It's not quite as much havoc as you'd expected. There's a lot more. In an odd way, even though you see on the physical world there's here and there an ambulance that you might pass by. There might be, individual. You might have even seen a sketchy situation of someone following someone else in the street, but nothing horrible seemed to have happened yet. But there's definitely a sense of quiet. There's even spirits that have these strange audio-like signatures that move around the city. Even when you enter this district, even though your car's still running fine, the lights are a bit dimmer. The engine's a little bit, muffled. The area, you even see these sound-like bites that are kind of whitish and blackish in color, moving through the area, almost quelling the sound of the place. And the storm and the stormy clouds above almost seem to give the only way they just seem to have an immense gravitas as they're almost kind of rolling over the skies, kind of rumbling here and there.
Because that's what Dublin needs, a magical storm cloud.
By the way, Adam, is the glass still broken all over, like, the road and street and stuff?
There have been some apartment crews to kind of clear that up.
Okay.
And there was probably an angry. There probably would have been a manager saying, "Hey, what the fuck happened?"
Yeah.
Your rent's probably going to be a little bit more expensive this month.
Well, Stefanos is going to look at that and just.
And we'll just say that as you're, strolling by on the car with the car, even the slumbering. And actually, I'll actually say this: you've passed by this area and you've seen several spirits. A lot more spirits, various ones, spirits of the buildings, the sidewalks, pathways, and electrical currents seem to actually have gone to sleep. They're in a slumbering state.
Interesting. That's interesting. Hello, am I transmitting? There we go. Yes. Well, Stefanos is definitely going to. It seems there's some kind of effect hanging over the area, and he's not really sure what's causing it. But he's going to probably, by virtue of looking through Prime and Spirit Sight, start tracing his way to where the effect is centered.
It's not necessarily centered, but it does seem to have a stem, if that makes sense. Think of the wide berth of these umbrella effects to be almost like a web of interconnected nodes, and the one stem for all of these nodes seems to be stemming from almost the border of the district, from this one apartment complex.
Okay, then he's going to head in that direction.
Meanwhile, my character is currently investigating the ground where he landed and looking where he went into that little mysterious location by knocking himself backwards.
The residual resonance of your character, you still feel the pain echoing in your hand, but depending on how your character's views of it, it still hurts you and still impedes you physically, but it doesn't. However, it affects his mind is up to him. You look down upon the cracked ground, and you kind of see what looks to be several different pieces of glass bordering those borders of the window. And roll your perception and awareness.
Okay. Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you, Mafia.
Perception. Okay. And then you said awareness? Got it. So that is D4. Okay. Uh, 8, 6, 6, and 1.
What was the difficulty?
8, 6, and 1. So that was just difficulty 6.
Okay, so that should still be good.
So, the best way to describe this. You inhale and you smell the breath. You smell the air in your vicinity. And you can't help but taste a presence lingering nearby in the air that seems to kind of have the same temperament as you do.
Interesting.
You're not sure where it is.
Do I have my mask on at the current moment?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Can I try to reach out and see if I can maybe grab the air as if it's like a curtain? Maybe I can like open it or anything.
What do you? So why are you trying to do that?
I'm trying to see if I can go back to that area that I pushed myself in. Because my thought process right now is that since I jet propulsed myself backwards in that location, I ripped through what I seem to be an illusionary curtain and like went into this like area that
you're trying to pierce the gauntlet.
I guess.
Okay. So you're trying to use your mask ability to pierce the gauntlet, right?
Yeah. But I
Do
don't know
know-
that my mask has an ability yet.
Yeah, you don't, but you're trying to do that. So since we'll say that you're working with unfamiliar, like it's not technically, but because your character's still extremely fresh, we'll say this is him working with unfamiliar tools. So I'm only going to give you a +1 to that. So it's going to be 3 + 3 + 1, so that's 7. I'm going to link you to some charts in just a second.
Is
And
it
basically,
coincidental or vulgar?
well, you're trying to pierce the gauntlet, correct?
I assume so.
So that's going to be vulgar.
Okay, so that's the base diff is 4.
That's right, base diff is 4, so it'd be difficulty 8.
Now, if there were
Oh no,
witnesses,
but it's based off the gauntlet. It's based off the gauntlet rating. Actually, the difficulty. I forgot. I'm about to send you some a chart. It basically shows you how you can reduce your difficulty on the
Through
magic.
Discord?
Yeah, I'll link it to you through Discord. I'm just checking the gauntlet rating chart. So you are in an urban area, so it's difficulty 7. You'll need 4 successes. So difficulty.
So what exactly would I be trying to roll?
You're rolling the arete of your mask. That's the thing that has the power, and it has 3 dice.
Okay, so give me a second.
So you can do those things, like any number of those things,
Okay.
to lower the difficulty of the rating. So right now it's difficulty 7.
I am using a unique instrument,
That's right.
working with unfamiliar instrument.
So that's +1. So it goes back to goes back to 7. And you'll need 4 successes, so you may need to take a little bit of extra time.
Give me a second. What's appropriate resonance?
Optional rule.
It's not well. So what you're trying to do, like you're not using that your mask isn't necessarily like maybe if you were like using the mask to look into the spirit world, I could say that is appropriate resonance. But right now that wouldn't apply.
What's manipulating mythic threads?
That gets complicated.
That's get complicated, but think of it like this: there are a lot of things that the consensus knows, or at least the consensus has heard of a lot. Like for example, tarot cards. Like if you were using tarot cards to read the future, that's a mythic thread because it's like a myth that's embedded in the psychology of the consensus, so it reduces your diff. Or
you said there was oh, my bad.
If you were using like a Harry Potter wand and you casted a spell, that would kind of be a mythic thread too, sort of. Stuff like that.
You said to him earlier when he was driving that there were a lot of nodes nearby or something like that, right?
Not the same kind of node.
Not the same kind of node.
Okay.
Trust me, that would be awesome.
Am I distant or hidden target or subject? I don't know what that is.
No, that's just yourself, so you're not hidden. You could because you have a lot of quintessence to spend. You could use that to lower the difficulty. You could spend extra time.
I'll use 2 and spend extra time.
All right. Now you may need to take the first roll. So you're spending 2 quint, so that brings the diff down to 1, 2, 3. So that's difficulty 4. The next roll will be diff 5 if you want to get the successes you need.
Got it. So exactly what am I rolling again?
You're rolling 3d10, difficulty 4. You're looking for 4 successes. You may need to take some extra time to figure out how to, work the mask.
I'll take extra time. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do your first roll. See how you do.
Got it. Rolls. So 4d or 3d10.
3d10.
I'm assuming thematically that I'm probably just going to arrive just as he gets into the Umbra to keep it simple.
Unfortunately, you fail. But you can like keep going, but it'll be a +1 diff.
Can I use another quintessence?
Yeah. Sure.
Sure.
Bring it back down to 4.
The maximum reduction
3.
I think you can do is 3.
It's I've used 3 total now.
Let's see. It was 7, 1. He brought it down.
Also, the expenditure of quintessence only lowers it for that round. So if you spent 2 on the first round,
Yeah.
to have a similar effect on the second round and +1, you'd have to spend another 3 quintessence. It doesn't carry over to subsequent rounds.
That's fair.
That's only for rituals, yeah.
So how many more do I need?
You need 3 more.
So I have to do it again?
Yeah, and it's at another +1.
Is there any chance I might notice this stuff going
So
on?
as you roll up, you see an individual that kind of let me read your merits.
There you go. I rolled 2 8s on that one.
So you got 3 successes. So as you see this individual, you kind of see that their quintessence rating is very, very, very potent. Their aura has a shine. I wouldn't even say a shining. It's almost like a extremely clear, brilliant aura.
He's met Nephilim before.
Yes, and there's definitely sparkly bits within it, and you can describe the emotions currently of your character right now.
Curious.
So you got 1, 2, so that means it was 7, it was brought to 4, so 5, 6. So you need 1 more success. So this is the next roll you're carrying.
All right.
He's gonna park and start walking into the alley.
I got a 6 and
He
7.
moves slow though, so you've got time.
So right as you approach slowly, you're gonna take a paradox point for this, Mister. You've managed to see the gauntlet and hold the gauntlet in your hand, and you're able to squeeze your hand through and slide your way, and you see the periphery. And the periphery, you're as you're passing through the gauntlet, you see almost like this. It's almost like a microcosm world within, just at the border edge beyond the gauntlet, and you can see tiny little castles and tiny bitty little cities and landscapes, all in little pocket universes, all formed beyond the edge of this gauntlet. And you pass your way through, and you're now within this reflection, this shadowy, rippling reflection of the world that you were just in. And Stephanos, while you don't see them in the physical world anymore, you saw them pass into the spiritual.
Yep, I can see into the penumbra, so I see him standing on the other side of the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
How do I call like spirits and stuff like that?
That would be Spirit 2.
Spirit 2, which I have.
Yes, you do.
Maybe
It doesn't
How do
specifically. Okay, Spirit 2 does not call spirits to you. It lets you communicate with them.
It lets you send out a call to them if they choose to come.
If you have correspondence too.
Which I do.
He does.
I'll have to double check that. I remember it being you just needed Spirit 2. But
Either way, it doesn't matter since I have both requirements. If either one of you are right. I want to see if, unknowingly, I want to see if I can maybe like try to catch that Oreobos. Maybe that'd be cool. So I guess I want to send out a call.
Well, actually, you'll see. You don't have any sights up, so you can roll your perception awareness.
Perception awareness, got it.
Alertness.
Alertness. Perception alertness. Okay. That's /D4. Uh, 7854.
7854. Okay. Looking around, underneath one of the shadows behind in the corner behind a light, and within that light you see this this wide-eyed face within it shining down whatever it can. Barely. You see well, describe your familiar.
He's an Oreobus, so he's a serpent that is in a constant state of revolution, trying to eat his own tail.
And you just kind of see it spinning in a strange sense, round and round in the corner, and it stops and its eyes look upon you and says, "I was looking for you." And you feel this intimate connection in your mind. "I thought I lost you when you went on your journey."
Well, I guess I'm here now. Would you like to join me?
I appreciated the things you created in the beyond. I'll happily join you. And it slithers up your leg around your torso and is now around your forearm.
Very interesting. I'll pet its, like, I'll kind of like slide my hand down its like head to its tail, just kind of like a pet.
And it will appreciate that. And the way it speaks to you, it speaks to you telepathically through pure emotional thought.
Okay.
And so you're on the other side, and you can see these strange shadowy spirits, almost these shadowy figures that have oozing lines. Some of the brick walls seem to look at you and give you a judgmental appearance. The shadowy figures almost seem to kind of eye you and are just simply curious about you.
I'm going to ask my familiar if he knows anything about them, or should I leave telepathically?
It would be wise for now until you find some way to gain knowledge. As far as I know of this world, I'm just as new as you are. But these look like sinister things in the eyes of those who encompass this place.
Fairly well. I will take your advice, knowing you have been here a little bit longer than I. I will turn around and try to undo the curtain again, traveling back.
All right, your difficulty is 7. You need 4 successes. I believe
Cool.
you only have 2 quintessence left for the day.
All right. So
Maybe
the
spend-
first
no,
one,
sorry, 4 quintessence.
the first one,
Green willpower.
first one. I guess I'll use a willpower for.
Okay.
And I'll burn 1 quintessence.
All right, you have 3 left.
Oh God, I only made it.
You only got 1 success, so you need 3
3
more.
more. Okay. On my next one, I will burn another quintessence. How much willpower do I have?
And the difficulty is now 8.
Okay. How many willpower do I have?
You spent 1.
Okay.
So you have 6. So you have 5.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can spend
so-
1 per round for an automatic success.
Okay. So this one won't work. Willpower won't work for this one.
No,
No, it is. It's
Oh,
a separate
okay.
round.
I'll do 1 willpower and another 1 quintessence.
Okay. So that'll bring the diff to 7.
That's
another 2
2
successes.
successes.
You need 1 more.
All right. Last one. I'm gonna do the same thing.
So your difficulty is 8, because it went up to 9, and -1 is 8.
Do I? Well, I guess I don't even need to, since it'll give me an automatic success. So.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
you-
doesn't even matter now. Shit. Cool.
You
I
managed
got that
it.
one.
On the last one, you're kind of getting the hang of it, and you slide on through with your familiar.
I guess I get out and I see this big dude standing in front of me.
Well, leaning against the wall, pretty much just watching what you were doing. You
Ah.
can't even.
And we're gonna get. And you have 2 more paradox points.
Oh, damn, I'm at 5.
No, wait, 2. No, sorry, you would be at 4 total.
Okay, cool.
Your familiar can help you with that, fortunately, once you learn how to use it. They're very handy for that.
Interesting.
So go ahead and describe your echoes and yeah.
Oh, my echo? Oh, all electronic devices around my immediate area are automatically set to mute.
That's fair.
So Stefano, so if you're looking at your phone, suddenly whatever video you were watching is now muted.
He's not looking at it, so it's okay.
Gotcha. So anyway, so you guys can continue with your interaction. It seems someone was waiting for you. Careful of this one.
Understood. You, sir. How long have you been sitting there?
I walked up around the time you decided to take a trip to the other side.
Are you one of them too?
Depends on who them would be.
The mysterious strangers I met in an unfortunate accident, kind of putting my hand back behind my back. It was, I believe their names were Kevin, one was Eliza, one was,
I'm not one of them, but I am, if you mean, do I do the same sort of thing that you do? Yes.
interesting.
I know the individuals you're speaking of.
I see.
So
You
I
won't-
take it you're not simply just visiting this area. This is kind of looks around. Is this your doing then?
I have a brief thought about it, but it might be.
Well, could have been worse. Could have been like the little earthquake that struck the other day.
That sounds very exciting. So, what exactly did cause that? I felt it where I was staying.
Someone else going through their awakening.
Interesting.
Now, Stefano, you notice people are beginning to populate the sidewalk a little bit.
Perhaps we should take this conversation somewhere out of sight.
I guess my apartment will have to do for now.
Standing out here.
I lead him up.
Okay. You lead him up into this, kind of dimly lit apartment complex with brown carpets and black walls that has a variety of black doors with gold letter numbers. Several people kind of pass you by and they make odd looks at. They kind of step to the side of Stefano's, but they kind of have a concerned look on their face with the individual with the mask.
Some of them should be used to it.
Some of them, but not all.
Yeah.
Especially since you admit yourself, you don't leave your apartment that much.
Nope, not at all.
So you eventually, your little familiar kind of hides underneath. Actually, it just wraps itself around your chest and just goes around and around. It's about the length. It's about the length of, if you spread out both of your arms, it's about the length of that. When it's in its Ouroboros state, it can wrap nicely around your chest.
Okay.
So, but you reach your apartment building, room 82.
I like it. I'll open the door.
Is there any obvious damage in the apartment, by the way?
When he opens the door, there is a nice... Yeah.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'll open the door and signal with my hand that he may enter.
Within the apartment complex, you see a variety of, once again, a lot of sleeping spirits slumbering. You can see their trails, bubbling, their little snores bubbling across, all kind of having strange appendages for eyes and noses and mouths to kind of give them an anthropomorphized expression.
Sounds
And
like
of course,
creatures from the darkness.
And as you're looking about on the outside looking outside the window, not only do you see little dream realms that are kind of bubbling up and rising above different places, you see different buildings. You see out like a as if a blast happened or something along those lines. Like a custom blast blasted out the window, essentially.
So you're telling me there is a large hole in the wall?
There's a large hole in the wall.
I may or may not have gotten blasted out of my own apartment into the alleyway down below.
He's just going to go over and look at the size of the hole, examine the structural damage, look outside at what's probably a small pile of rubble down there.
It's about the size of the rubble. Actually, is more kicked off across, like kind of littered a little bit across the street, but it seems to form mainly on the within the alleyway.
Did anyone else happen to witness it? They can be rather blind at times, I've heard.
No one was at the street at a time. It was actually very odd. I may not get out much, but you usually see more people around the area. It was very quiet. It was very dark around.
Does the superintendent know about the damage yet?
I wouldn't know. I haven't been really back to my apartment all that much.
The landlord has.
Well, I don't know if he's come to me about it yet.
Well, no, he did come to. He's like, he heard a noise earlier, and when he came back to find you, he said, "What the fuck was that? Why is there a hole in my, why is there a hole in my building? That kind of thing."
Oh, yeah, I told the superintendent that wind, shit can be strong. He seemed to believe it. I have an act with persuading people.
Clearly, that's a whopper.
Well, he may not have believed you because, well, you can, if you read your emails on your phone, your next bill has a little bit of an increased price.
Hey, I can't exactly look at my phone due to, well, the certain district being down, all the cell towers.
This is
all
true. But when you visited
electricity.
Tripitaka, you would have gotten at least some kind of signal there. And,
Oh, I didn't have my phone on me.
Oh, no.
Is there any other internal damage?
Not as far as you can tell. Just the hole in the wall and a little bit of debris. It's about the size of 3 people.
Okay.
My character's gonna walk up, pull the black sheet off of his bed, and just hang it up as a curtain.
So, I am sorry, I did not do an introduction. I am Stefanos.
Ah, I see. Question, Stefanos. Are you tasked here with violent means, as I again kind of push my hand behind my back a little bit more?
Well, typically.
Interesting.
Unless you're planning on attacking me. I mean...
My character's having an internal debate on whether or not he should let go of his mask. But I guess he'll give you his name for now. My name is Matthew. How are you?
Isn't that a... In some... I know in some cosmologies that's a demon's name.
Yes, it is in the Christianity folklore.
Okay, he's just gonna
Fallen angel.
He's gonna blink for a couple seconds and just be like, looks at your aura again. I just gotta ask for the record. ST, or narrator, his aura is not pitch black.
No,
Okay.
Damn.
That
No,
is
I'm not a demon.
that is
It
an
is-
unfortunate name to have right now in this city.
I will say this: it is not black. It is not bright. It is incredibly clear. There's a clarity to it. You mostly detect the colors through hues, almost as if it's like a crystal refracting a certain color.
Yeah, it's like a translucent light gray, I guess you could call it.
Yep. But he still stands by what he said. He's like, that is an unfortunate name to have right now.
Um, I wouldn't know much about it. I didn't really pick it for myself. It was my adopted mother's choice.
Well, perhaps when I explain what you. Names are a very personal thing. I understand that. However, there are some issues right now in this city with those whose names have a infernal connotation, shall we say?
I see.
You are new to this, yes?
I guess very.
All right. Let me be brief then, because I don't think I came over here prepared to do a full history lesson. And
I
God knows
got
I
plenty
need to.
of those earlier.
I'm sure. I'll try not to contradict anything. If you have any questions, let me know, but I'm going to be brief. Um, there have been issues in this city with certain individuals who have consorted with entities from the nether dimensions, shall we say, what many would colloquially refer to as hell. Demons. This is not something which is in any way commonplace or accepted. It is the sort of thing which in most cities would cause magi to be arrested and possibly killed. In this city, it seems that that is not the case, but it has still caused quite a bit of consternation among some people. So, if you ever encounter something that calls itself Faust or Lucy, I would highly recommend running in the opposite direction or getting away as quickly as possible. Um, but yes, you understand now why I say it is unfortunate to have a name of that nature.
I do, but I don't normally give my name to strangers. But as of interesting circumstances of today and yesterday, I am I'm opening up more than I do.
Well, hmm.
If
There's.
you,
Sorry, go ahead.
perhaps if I guess, well, this mask I have on, I'm wearing for more than one reason.
It's
But
clearly powerful.
my actual face might, based off of your current reaction, might give you less than wanted expectation.
Mm, look, I am new, but I have. Hmm, hmm. How to put this delicately? I don't do delicate very well. Your aura is very powerful. I have met, off the top of my head, at least two other individuals who have similar auras, and they are apparently both the children of divinities.
I wouldn't know. I haven't met my actual parents.
Well, this is me telling you that one of them may be highly placed. Auras like that do not appear frequently, which makes it interesting that there are three in the city at any given time. But it's i- if you wish to keep the mask, by all means. There are. Trust is hard to come by in this city right now, so I would not blame you.
I do fairly agree.
Uh,
I take out my pipe and I begin to use an herb. And I think this one is just going to be a relaxing herb rather than any of the other special ones.
Okay.
and you don't accidentally destroy him this time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, rather than try and inundate you with information, perhaps you could, if you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them. For the record, I have only been part of, he kind of vaguely gestures around, all of this for less than a month myself.
I see. Which part of this less than wonderful city that we reside in so far are you part of?
Not too close to here. I live more in suburbia.
Okay. Um, by any chance, can I get some contact information for you? You seem like you could be a helpful friend.
Right, by all means, take out a card. It's basically just got his name and his address. I operate a small forge. Um, if there's no one at the house, typically the forge is open, and if it's not, then, well, I'm somewhere else. Um, have well, no, you're new, so you haven't. Mm,
The people around my last gathering have apparently called me something of a orphan, which I find ironic.
It is a term that applies to mages who have, well, there's non-aligned and there's orphans, as I understand it. Orphans are more of a official dumping ground, if you will, for any who do not fit into other groups. Their only commonality is that they do not belong to the other groups, whereas a non-aligned is someone who refuses to even join them. At least that's how I understood it. I haven't read too many of the texts on this yet. If you couldn't tell, there are quite a few different groups, and they all have their own specialties and agendas and so on and so forth, mine included.
I I nod at that and I show my hand that's hidden behind my back with a hole in the middle. I think I figured that out.
Uh, dare I ask?
Some strange woman with interesting scars on her face got a little aggravated at a comment that apparently was ignorant. I
He
meant her
still
no harm.
kind of looks and goes, that does strike me as odd. What did you say?
I
I
asked
know
her I asked her if she was part or if anyone in the area was a part of the cross or something of that.
the cross.
I was trying to go off of what Adam said.
What was said, Adam? Because I think it's OOC. People are being forgetful.
The cross? I don't remember mentioning anything about
Or
cross.
you said that old man, whatever his name was, said something about not telling my name to people of something.
Oh, those of the cross, I believe. He's those who wear crosses, he said.
Oh, okay.
Those who, yeah, he said those who wear crosses.
Oh, I thought you said of the. Okay, my bad.
Mhm. I think I fucked up my wording there, so that might have been my fault.
Hmm.
Well, you got me stabbed.
Sorry.
Shit happens. So you asked her. You said that. Sorry, you asked her if she was part of, or if she was one of the cross.
Yes, I was informed by a rather generous individual, considering I teleported blasted through his house. Um, he told me not to tell my name to people. Apparently now with a cross, but I took it as of the cross. And yes, that did not go out so well. I was just trying to be cautious because I'm unfamiliar with my surroundings now, and my cautiousness turned into rather irritating agony.
My advice would be to pick up another name. I do not mean to be rude, but if you don't give people a name, they will be suspicious, and that is potentially a lethal thing. Um, if you give them a name, even if it is not your true name, they will understand. There are many people who would give aliases and monikers. Um, it, anything that is not, shall we say, demonic would probably be acceptable. Uh, it does not matter what, just anything. That's simply a possibility. But likely the person you were speaking to was saying, "Do not tell the." Hmm, they were known as the Chorus until very recently. Now they are known as the Canticle of Lamenters. Also, they work with ones known as the Templar, and oh, you might be familiar with the other name, the Inquisition.
Ah, they're still around.
Apparently, and they're very religious and somewhat violent. And by
Hmm.
somewhat, I mean very.
It seems like they're
Um,
not the only one.
well, violence is not something that any one group has a monopoly on. There are people in my own organization who have quite a temper and propensity for fire.
And which will that be?
I am, as of like perhaps 2 weeks ago now, I am part of the Order of Hermes. Uh, Depending on who
Hmm.
you ask, they're a very old, very knowledgeable organization of
So you're a
sorcerers and wizards.
messenger.
Hmm?
So you're a messenger.
I wish. No, the connection to Hermes is apparently more to do with an ancient knowledge cult, as I understand it. I myself am actually, well, if this is not too personal, I am pagan and follow the Greek gods. I had a similar hope when I heard their name, but it was dashed. They are somewhat a-religious.
I see.
But they they're one of the larger organizations, but that does not mean they are popular. They have keeping this between you, me, and the wall. There have been accusations over the years, apparently, and let's just say the history books seem far too good to be true. So I'd be willing to bet that there are more than a few skeletons in the closet. However, the main reason I joined is simply uh, how to put this. I saw firsthand how loyal they could be to their own people. My mater, my mistress, she would lay down her life to save any one of her order. And that is a rare thing, I would imagine.
I see. Well, that is quite the interesting little tale.
But
I'll keep
you
that
surely
in
have
mind.
other questions, though, I believe.
How did you find me? For one.
Well, you did knock the power out, and there was a large magical explosion of energy.
Interesting. So you can sense that.
Yes, not everyone has the same talents. I typically technically have the ability to look at mm, anything that reeks of magic or the spiritual realm, but others have other talents and specialties.
Interesting. Hey, Adam,
Yes, sir.
can I ask Oriobos to see if I can trust him? Like, see if my familiar knows that or can sense that.
Hmm. High or low?
What's up?
High or low?
What do you mean?
He's asking you to pick high or low. He's going to do something dice related.
Oh, um, I'll give it low.
The snake kind of peers its head from the back of the individual shirt and kind of sticks its tongue out a couple times. I don't sense anything sinister or malevolent from this individual, if that's what you're asking.
Just lots and lots of fire.
But
Okay.
he's got a lot of pent-up energy, it seems. It seems to slither back around you.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. So resonance, which is kind of like people's, I wouldn't say subtle aura, but kind of like the flavor they give the area around themselves. Like yours is quiet. His is like oppressive heat,
Okay.
like standing too close to a forge.
Okay.
But it's more of a sensation. You're not actually like popping out a sweat or anything.
Yeah. Mine would be kind of like sense dulling, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Interesting. Very well. I proceed to unstrap the back of my mask and take it off, turning around and hanging it on its respective hook.
Ah, demon! No, I'm just kidding.
Well, considering my eyes are black with a red iris, that's very well to say that.
No, he'll just look at you and just like, again, there's that twitch, and he just looks at your aura again, like, nope, it's not black. It's not black. It's not black. He's named Malthiel. He looks like a demon, but he doesn't have a black aura. God, some people have bad luck. He's just gonna sigh and be like, you should probably either keep the mask on when you're outside or, yes, dress in really baggy clothing or something. That is also unfortunate, but definitely lose the name in the addition to that.
I will keep that advice in well mind. I do often use many aliases.
That's fortunate then. Kind of looks around. So, what do you do then?
I point over to like my 7 monitors. It's a few hanging on the wall, a few on a table. One's knocked over thanks to the blast. And I tell him I was I guess you could call it somewhat of a hacktivist before this.
Hmm. Not the first more electronically inclined person I've met in the city, but hmm. What do you? I did not notice you using any electronics before when you were. He kind of makes a parting motion like he's parting a curtain.
You see, since the power outage, no electronics work in this area.
No, I understood that, but most of the people I've met who are electronically inclined, they use it frequently in their magic, for lack of a better word.
Oh, I don't
However,
particularly know. I just thought, hey, I blasted through this area and landed in this weird world that I just thought it was maybe like a curtain or something. So I grabbed it and opened it.
Yeah, that's what you did. That is, as I understand, that is the other side. I don't know a lot about it myself. I can see over there, but I do not have the ability to go there, and any attempt I've made at communicating with those entities has failed so far. I do not have
Interesting.
that skill.
It appears that this little guy is from over there as well. And I'm holding out my arm to let Oreo slither around it.
He nods. Yes, that is definitely a spirit.
He says that uh, I used to be with him a while ago. It's odd. It seems that I've had a past life before this.
That would not be too unusual. I've heard quite a few speak of reincarnation. I am personally
I'm
not sure what to think about it, but it is
I'm
not
not sure it's
unusual.
exactly reincarnation though. He said he noticed me. Usually if it was a reincarnation, I don't think I would be the same, would I?
Perhaps.
This is the part where we're nudging Adam.
Um, you felt the distinct impression that he wasn't speaking of a past life, but a previous state of existence.
Interesting. Speaking of which, I do have one question that I found odd when this. What would you call this thing that I had just been through?
You mean the curtain? Or
No, the when this explosion.
you mean when you learned about the again
Yeah,
gestures all around awakening?
I see. So during this awakening, I guess, that I was a part of, I was pulled through what looked to be several different worlds and realities swirling around me. And I could have sworn I saw so many different entities looking at me, I think clapping or cheering me on. It was odd.
Strange things happen during awakenings. I've only witnessed two, and I suppose technically yours from a distance, but all I did was hear the after effects. Mm. One was very violent. It was an unfortunate occurrence.
Okay. Hey, Adam,
Duh.
what were those things cheering and clapping?
That is a very difficult thing to answer in English because even people who I've gotten these ideas from have a hard time explaining. But the gist is, they were a variety of different. Angels doesn't even do the description of them justice. Um, they were immensely potent beings that seemed to construct objects, impossibly made objects with their words and showing you how to do that. And they were almost goading you on to do it. Some were black with white-like geometric patterns swirling their body. Others were elf-like dwarves that seemed to hop in and out of your body. Others were shadowy, like gaseous clouds of immense shadowy radiance with kind of universes that make them up in particle size. You saw just an odd array of different forms that you couldn't. It was so unbelievably strange that if you saw UFOs outside tomorrow, your experience would be stranger than that.
Interesting. Am I able to use my art ability to sketch out roughly what I saw? I say roughly because, as you say, no words can really comprehend, but maybe I can put words to paper to cite.
Oof. Okay, roll me your dexterity and art difficulty. 8.
Okay.
'Cause it's like really hard. It's like how to, like you're really trying your hardest to kind of, how do I draw a non-Euclidean shapes essentially.
Yeah. Oh wait, I have to look up what they are. You said dexterity?
Dexterity and art. You said you wanted to draw.
Oh, good. Okay, so that's 4. All right.
And yeah, your art specialty would have to be in like drawing or something like that. So
It
make
is
sure
drawing.
Okay, so good.
I got 1 8 and 1 7.
1 8, 1 7. Unfortunately, you're trying to draw it, but at the moment, like it's really hard for you to. You just don't seem to either have the artistic expertise or just haven't spent enough time attempting to translate what you saw into 3 dimensions.
Okay. Do I have like a rough
Just like
drawing?
2 dimensions.
Yeah. Do I have like a rough sketch of, since it's not like clear, but
All you.
It's a blob.
It's kind of a blob, yeah. It's just kind of a blob because you were trying to draw it out, but it was just so bizarre, so strange, so.
I was attempting to show him, but what I was trying to talk about, but I guess that's not really gonna happen.
You're not Geiger, man. It's okay.
It's okay. You can get to Geiger's level though.
Yeah.
Exactly. Once you get there, you'll be good.
Who knows? If you somehow manage to draw what you saw and sold it, you will make money.
I like it. I'm gonna work for that. That's a goal. That's a goal.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Alright then. So, what can you tell me about this little guy here, referencing to Odeobus?
I cannot say much. It's a spirit. It looks like a little dragon. Not really my expertise.
I believe you said something about paradox earlier.
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay. That was you
Someone else
out of
may
character?
have.
Okay,
Yeah, that was probably out of character.
got it. Scratch that.
Okay, it's okay. Don't worry, you'll encounter that quick enough.
Already has.
He's new. He's new to this.
Already have.
Doing all this.
I have 4 paradox.
And Ouroboros just starts nibbling on your paradox.
That'd be funny.
Anyways, he's just gonna kind of look and just say, "Well, any other questions I can help with? I'm sure you've got some. And if
Do you
you think of any later, yeah.
Do you perhaps know the man with the strings?
I'm sorry?
There was this black, faded-out man. He had a lot of strings attached to me and different, what looked like to be different spheres or realities or something.
I don't know. Was this while you were on the other side?
This was during this awakening thing.
Oh, then it couldn't have been anything.
Interesting.
It might have been one of the gods. It could have been a powerful spirit. It could have been something you created.
I ripped him out of my stomach.
Then, by virtue of metaphor, perhaps it was a part of you.
Interesting. How exactly will I contact him again?
I don't know particularly. I mean, you could just... I honestly can't give any advice on that. I would just say, if it is a part of you, maybe a piece of your psyche, then perhaps meditation is the answer, or lucid dreaming or something. I honestly couldn't give much advice.
I see. How would I go about finding more of you?
Well, there are a few places where we hang out. There's a small bar known as the Tig. He gives the address. It's run by a blind gentleman named Mads. There's also
Oh,
a.
I've been there. I
Oh,
teleported into his shop, ruining a lot of his tables and chairs.
it's not the first time, I believe. People who run dwellings that cater to our folk probably have to deal with that sort of thing frequently. Still, it might be nice to, offer to pay for it or something else at some point. There's also a location known as Agrabah Nights. It is a club of sorts. Not a nightclub sort of thing, more of a mm, place to rest. It's done in the style of a pavilion tent. Lots of cushions, hookahs, food and drink. Very Arabic.
I see.
It specifically seems to be for our kind, though. I've never seen anyone in it who was not at least familiar with our kind.
I see. That place
Uh,
sounds fun.
Sorry?
That place sounds fun.
Eh, it's interesting, but its protections. No place's protections are perfect. It's all based on how powerful the owner is and how much effort they go to protect it. I've never. The only protector I know of at Agrabah Nights is the bouncer, and I have personally seen that he can be bested. Uh,
Interesting.
I wouldn't try it or anything, but um,
Immediate confrontation is not my thing. If I'm gonna get confrontation with somebody, I'm going to stake out first.
observation is usually a good tactic, I would imagine. But hmm. In any case, you stop by the forge at some point, and if I can answer any other questions, I will. I would say, and I've given this advice to others, some of which are new, some of which are somewhat more experienced at this than I am. It might be wise to. Mm, I don't know if the library is still open. Um, there is a library in this city which is run by one of our kind. Well, I say it's in this city. The entrance is in this city. I believe it dwells someplace else. The owner is one of our kind. He is, or well, he's the caretaker, he said. His health is extremely poor right now, though. I doubt he is in any condition to manage it, and for all I know, the library is closed as a result. But there is a vast store of knowledge there, and you could easily go there and acquire a book. I have a book checked out at the moment, though. If you stop by later, I can loan it to you, provided you return it in good condition and relatively promptly. It's just a basic history book on the traditions, as they are called. Some of it's outdated. For example, it's about the nine traditions, and now there are eight of those.
Let's see.
That change occurred only within the last week or so.
So, would you say tomorrow, perhaps?
Certainly. Other things. I don't want to predispose you towards anything in particular, but if you meet anyone who is wearing obvious religious paraphernalia, be on your guard, especially if it's a cross. Just the choristers might take a dislike to you. Well, they're the canticle now, but either way. Um, Other than that, that is yes, you might wish to eventually find yourself a group, whether it's of local magi or uh, a membership in a larger organization. And if none fit, then yes, you could technically become an orphan, and that would give you a very loose membership.
I will give it some great thought. But for further contact information, I give them my burner phone number because I have like 7 burner phones and my actual phone. I give him one of my burner phone information that I have on me, and I'll also give him my online ID in case he ever wants to private message me.
He just looks at it like, what is this strange device? No, I'm just kidding. He can use tech. Dude has a PhD in robotics. He can use tech. He'll just nod and pocket the information and say, well, I will head out then. Sorry to leave the hole there, but if I were to repair it, it would probably attract more attention and leave you with more questions to answer.
It's fine. I'll pay for the damages. I have a little bit more wealth than I know what to do with.
Huh. Might not want to advertise that. Some are.
I say that as I look at your clothes, obviously not expecting you to do anything with it.
I mean, he doesn't look like he's badly off himself. He's wearing decent clothing.
Yeah, but I can see soot and stuff off of the forge and all that.
Yeah.
I assume you make your own.
More or less. It's a little more complicated than that. But in a transitional phase at the moment. In any case, I will not take up any more of your time, but I will hopefully catch you soon. And if there are any questions I can answer, by all means, you might want to check with. Trying to think. Normally, I would recommend speaking to the Archbishop, but even if he were still here, your particular name and appearance might cause him to react violently. But he was a good man, or is, but I don't know where he is. Master Siren's in no state to entertain guests, I believe. Who else? I can't think of anyone else in particular that you would need to speak with.
Adam.
What's up?
He needs some help.
Oh, what do you need help with?
Huh?
What
He
do you need
doesn't
help
know.
with?
No. I was just saying the character's just going, you can't think of anyone else to send you to. He's just like, I mean, the masters and shit he would send you to are all either dead or out of the city or in hiding or aren't people he would want to send you to. So
Aside from Matt, I mean, Danielle sometimes mentions that there are people that she's with, and
yeah, he already knows about Mads, so
yeah, that's really about it. There's no one really else in the city unless you're able to find like spirits to teach you stuff.
I'm sure we'll be able to figure something out. In any case, I should make my way home. I have someone I must see to.
That is fair.
And he will politely make his farewells and head to the door and head out.
I will close the door behind him.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to do, or can I end the scene here?
Cough, cough, Adam.
No, there's nothing you guys need to do. Ouroboros will sleep on your belly.
Okay, and he will nibble at that paradox. No, I'm just kidding.
Hopefully. I wake up feeling rejuvenated.
That'd be awesome. Well, you will. You'll wake up with full quintessence.
That's not exactly what I meant. Apparently, my character feels a little bit more depressed.
But I mean, at least you'll have all the quintessence. That's always good.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And this has been another scene, Darkness in Dublin.